Everyone who works a job, no matter what it is, has one responsibility or task that they must complete that they absolutely hate. I don't care if you scrub down the porta potties after a big music festival, or if you have to change the ink toner in the printers around the office. It doesn't matter what it is. It's all relative. But everyone has a part of their job that they just despise. You're best off to just grin and bear it. Get it over with. That's what I try to do. But sometimes it doesn't work out so easily. And sometimes you just can't escape it. The thing I couldn't stand doing was delivering parcels to the old lady on Maple Pine Drive. You wouldn't think that would be so bad, and in the great scheme of things it wasn't. But that lady was unique, I'll tell you that. Uniquely nuts. The most notable thing about her was that she was a hoarder. When she would open the door to accept her packages, I could see the parcels I brought the week before stacked up on the stairs. She would leave just enough room along the banister that she could shimmy down the stairs sideways. The kitchen counters and almost every surface in the house were stacked high with boxes. The funny thing was that most of the stuff was still in the box. She wouldn't even open them. Just find a place to keep stacking them up. It was like she was entombing herself in boxes of online purchases or whatever the hell else she was ordering. She also had a dog, though I could never quite figure out how the dog could navigate that mess of a place. I never saw that dog outside. Not once. I think it lived its whole life in that small house. When the old lady would open the door, the smell that wafted out helped prove my theory. The smell of dog piss and shit would turn my nose hairs curly and purple. I rarely even saw the dog. I could hear it barking from somewhere in the house. I imagined it locked in a small room with a water bowl surrounded by piles of its own greasy shit. Real wholesome life for a dog. I'd even considered calling animal control, but I thought it would be better just to mind my own beeswax. One time while I was trying to get a customs payment off of the lady, the dog came down the stairs. It looked normal enough, but as it reached the bottom of the stairs, it locked eyes with me and started growling. It almost reached the door before the lady even noticed that the dog was right about to pounce on me. In a nick of time, she noticed and shut the door and came outside to finish our transaction. "Real friendly looking dog you got there," I remarked. "He just loves his mama, but he hates men," she replied with a certain amount of pride in her voice. I doubted that that dog had ever met a man, but I had to be polite, so I didn't say anything. Eventually, the smell coming from the house got so bad that I just started leaving her packages on the porch. I'd ring the doorbell, drop the package, and scram. It was like the old days of playing Nicky Nicky Nine Door. Maybe not quite as fun as that childhood game, but anything I could do to avoid that acrid smell. My nose hairs just couldn't take it anymore. The only time I ever had to interact with her was to get customs payments or if the delivery required a signature. One time while I was getting a payment off of her with the big shepherd on its hinds growling through the screen door, the lady looked at me and exclaimed, "What the hell is that?" "My face," I replied. I couldn't really tell where she was looking as her eyes always had a certain way of rolling around in her head. "No, behind you." I looked behind me to see a shovel leaning against the wall. I informed her, "It's just a shovel." "Well, who the hell left that there?" "Oh wait, I did," she realized. I really couldn't tell if this lady was coming or going half the time. I just collected the cash and prayed she didn't do any cross-border shopping anytime soon. And for a little while, she didn't. A few weeks passed and then a few months with no deliveries to Maple Pine Drive. I started to forget all about the lady and her cooped-up dog. Then on one beautiful Friday morning, I went into the back of the truck, and there it was, a package to Maple Pine Drive. It had a big fat customs charge attached and a small note from the shipper. The note said, "Sorry it's so late, we ran out of stock. Please enjoy 30% off your next order." I doubted that the lady would even remember ordering the package, let alone care that it was late. Plus, she probably had hundreds of other deliveries coming to keep her busy and to keep those stacks of boxes growing. Of course, I left her package until last. I hadn't had to take a customs charge from her in a while, and to be honest, I was dreading it. Something about the way she would always act surprised and exasperated when she had to pay. I told her to stop ordering things from the States if she didn't want the extra fees. Do you think she listened? No. Much easier to just act mad about it. I pulled up in front of her house, grabbed her package, and started up towards the front door. Something struck me as odd. There were stacks of packages all over the porch. Maybe she just finally ran out of room in the house for all this shit, I thought to myself as I rang the doorbell. I stood back and realized that even if she was home, there were so many packages stacked in front of her door that she wouldn't be able to open it. I rang the doorbell again and listened. You can usually tell if someone is home. You can hear a shift in the floorboards. If the customer has a dog and it barks at the door, there's no one home. But if it barks back into the house, it's usually trying to tell the owner, "Hey dummy, someone is at the door." I couldn't hear her dog, but I could hear something. A slight scratching sound. It sounded like it was coming from the kitchen. I thought I'd better take a look around the side of the house. There was a window at the side of the building, and I decided to check it out. I stood up on a planter to see if I could figure out what was making that strange scratching noise. Peering in, I could see the dog's hind end obscured by the kitchen counter. The dog was pulling on something, and its claws were producing the scratching sound I had heard from the front door. I decided I needed to see what the dog was up to, and to do so I'd have to get into the backyard. I hopped the tall wooden fence. My boot got caught on the top and I went crashing down. I was expecting to get the wind knocked out of me, but I landed on some type of cushion. Gathering my wits back, I realized I had fallen into a stack of empty boxes. They were old and wet and moldy, but at least I didn't break my arm. As I got back to my feet, I let out a gasp as I surveyed the backyard. Stacks and stacks of old cardboard boxes were everywhere. There was barely any visible grass or garden, just ancient boxes stacked and sunken into the dirt with fresher ones stacked on top. Styrofoam packing material was blowing around in little cyclones. There was a swing set that was completely rusted, visible emerging from the cardboard wreckage. All of its chains were broken. I could see a child's crib in the corner of the yard. It looked like it had been sitting there for years. There was a little mobile thing blowing in the wind, making noises. It looked like some kind of junkyard. I could see many of the labels on the boxes were from baby stores like Babies R Us and the like. I wished I would have checked the invoices to see what this lady was having delivered all these years. As I waded through the cardboard to the kitchen screen door, I remembered I still had the package I was trying to deliver in my hand. I opened the invoice on the package, and a gift note from the shipper was attached. "Happy high school graduation, Philip. From Mom." I looked at the invoice, and it was a fountain pen. The customs charge I was to collect was $50. That meant that the pen was probably worth over $300. I heard the scratching again and decided the pen wasn't important. As I looked through the kitchen window, I could see her big shepherd had something in its mouth that it was trying to pull free from under a mad stack of boxes. It looked like a shoe. The dog adjusted his grip and gave a final pull at the shoe, and the boxes stacked up started to tumble. As they fell, I could see the lady dressed in an old nightgown laying on her back with her foot in the dog's mouth. Her visible skin was purple with decay, and her face, oh God. Her face was so bloated that her eyes were sealed shut, with nothing but pussy blobs in their place. Having freed her from under the boxes, the dog started walking towards the now revealed head of its owner. I tapped at the window to get the dog's attention. It looked at me for a moment, tilted its head to the side, and locked eyes with me. It was then that I noticed the protruding ribs of a dog half-starved to death. The moment passed, and it lunged at the woman's face and bit into her upper lip. I desperately slammed my hands against the glass as the dog tugged at her lip and tore her face right off, leaving a single strip of skin still connected to her chin. With the skin removed, I could see her grayed-over eyeballs slightly shriveled in their sockets. Her deep blue tongue hung outside of her fleshy skull and wagged back and forth as the dog jostled the last piece of skin free. I kept banging on the glass as the dog ate her face. With my hand covering my mouth, I tried to stifle a projectile vomit, causing several streams of puke to blast between my fingers while simultaneously soaking my shirt. I could no longer look, and I turned away. I continued to gag to the muffled sound of the dog fiendishly scarfing down her face skin. I called 911. Emergency services arrived and I told them all of what I had witnessed. One police officer questioned me while I watched the fire department and the paramedics struggle to fight through the boxes to get to the woman's body. When the questioning was done, I looked down at my watch. Still on the clock, I thought to myself. At least I have that.
Hey, Wes. Wes. Psst. Hey, Wes. Wes, it's all clear.